Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie and today I'm going to film a tag video. So I love doing those cute little tags where it's like comparing a book to like an object or a character or something. I like those tags very much, but like everybody else, I'm also always on the lookout for more unique tags that get you thinking a little bit more. And it seems like this channel, Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, has come up with at least two really good thought-provoking tags, and I've already did one of them. I can't remember which tag it was, but they created another one, and I believe they also have a discussion video which inspired them to create this tag. So I will post a link to their channel in these videos. I haven't watched the discussion video, but I do want to watch it. It's just, discussion, like panel discussion type videos can take a little bit longer to watch. But anyway, this is the ratings and review tag, and like I said, it was created by Scott and Nell from Gunpowder and Fiction and Plot. And basically, it's asking you to talk about how you rate and review books. So, the first question is tagging people. I'm not going to tag anyone specific, but if any of you are interested in doing this tag, consider yourself tagged, because, I think it's a fun tag and an interesting tag. Okay, so question number 2. How do you know you've finished a good book? Is it a thinking or feeling response? And I said, and I feel like it's both a thinking and feeling response for me. I think if it's a book that I think about after the fact, and if it's a book that has made me think about things, about our society, about my life, etc., then to me that's a good book. But it's also about if I feel like I've enjoyed it, makes me feel good, or makes me feel like I need to think about things once I finish it. So I feel like thinking and feeling kind of go hand in hand, at least for me anyway. Maybe not for everybody, but definitely both a thinking and feeling thing. Okay, question number 3 is, when you begin to form your review/rating, what is the first question you ask yourself? And that's what? What did I think about this book? What do I want to say about this book? And what are my feelings towards the book? Especially if it's a book that is very serious, like talks about some serious issues and done in a fictional way, then I definitely want to think about what I want to say with my review, because I think that's very important. I don't want to be just like, oh, I liked this book, it was fun, or oh, I hated this book. I want to explain why, and I want to consider what my thoughts were on it. What did it do for me as a reader? So my question is what? Okay, question number 4. Okay, this has, question number 4 kind of has multiple parts to it. Okay, so the main question is, do you do the star ratings, the, 1 to 5 star rating, and why if you do it, and why not if you don't? And if the answer is yes, you do star ratings, then there's, part A is your explain your star rating system. And then another part to that is it consistent? And then if you answer no, it's what language do you use to convey the quality of a book in your reviews? And does this form an informal ranking and rating? Okay, so like I said, my answer is yes, I do the rating system, but watching their Scott and Nell's video and hearing Nell's thoughts on the rating system and thinking about my feelings on the rating system and how it's been going for me, I think I'm going to next year I'm not going to use the star rating system anymore. Even the rating system I attempted to create, which is 1 through 10, like a score kind of thing. Okay, so I will explain it. Originally I did the 1 through 5 star rating system. I rarely gave a book a 1. And then 5, I gave a lot of books 5, and I would try to think about it a lot more and be like, is this really a 5? Like, am I just caught up in the emotions of having just read a book that I was entertained by, And especially because, I've heard people in the past in their videos for talking, saying, if you give a book every book you read 5 stars, then can we trust you as a reviewer? And also, is it really I don't think every book is necessarily 5 stars. You can really love a book, but it's not necessarily 5 stars. Plus, everyone's 5-star books and 1-star books and the in-between are always different. Like, everyone's rating system is they think about the 1 through 5-star rating system very differently. And then Storygraph, it's the same thing, but it has what everyone's been asking for so long from Goodreads, which is half stars and 0.25 and 0.75 star ratings as well. And I did stop using the Goodreads star rating system and just wrote reviews because I want to work on my review writing skills. But I do use it in Storygraph. And though I use it because it's easy, it's the simple way to sum up your feelings about but I do still feel that my feelings are a lot more complex than that. I think everybody's feelings are a lot more complex than that when it comes to a book that they hate or love. And but then this year I tried to go with a score rating system, and originally I thought about doing this thing where like I do points and then add it all up, but I failed at that because I'm lazy and I didn't take the time to really do that kind of process. I just would give a number or a score rating of a book, and I feel like some of the ones that I gave 10 a 10, because 10 is absolutely love this book. It's an all-time favorite book. I would read it again, and 1 is I regret reading. I hate this book, and there's rarely any book that I ever give a 1 score. Like probably the only book that comes close to that is the Sleeping Beauty trilogy, which I didn't even read. Well, I haven't read in the past. That was back when I was in college still when I read that. And I was just not comfortable with that story. It really upset me, and the only reason why I even attempted to read the second book was I was hoping the characters would get out of their situation. It's basically the whole Sleeping Beauty story, where when she is rescued by the prince, it turns out him and his mother rescue princes and princesses all the time and turn them into sex slaves. It involves BDSM type sex, and the whole sex slave thing, that's what bothered me. Like, I understand there are people that are, like, BDSM is their thing, and that's fine, you do you. So, but the sex slave thing, I just did not like. And after a while, I couldn't keep going with the book. It's only 3, well, actually, no, it's 4 books, because Anne Rice is the author, but it's under a different name. She did write a 4th book, I didn't like it, but it made sense at the same time. Like, I didn't like it. That I was hoping I was wrong and didn't go in that direction, but, it does go in the direction I was hoping it wouldn't. But it makes sense with the story. It unfortunately kind of does fit with the story. So if you are interested, it's under A-N. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I always struggle with pronouncing the last name she used. I think it's French. But it's Anne Rice, basically. I mean, it might even say Anne Rice in the book, unlike new versions, reprints of the book trilogy, or now it's, like I said, now it's 4 books. That's the only book that I ever, it was more just personal preference. But, yeah, that's the only book I would come close to giving 1 star, or 1 score rating. So I thought I was being clever and stuff when I did the 1 through 10, but then I didn't even do the whole adding up the scores kind of thing. And I don't like doing the rating. I don't like it anymore. I feel like it's not, not genuine, and I want to just focus more on writing up my reviews. So I wish I could claim it's consistent. I think I'm sort of consistent, but I'm at least, but it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I want to work more on writing my thoughts out instead of just giving it a number or a star. Okay, and so question number 5. Do you believe every book has its perfect reader? Does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? And I think so. I think every book has its reader. Just because I don't like it or I'm not comfortable with it doesn't mean that you won't love it. Like, I think there are people that might actually be interested in books like the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. There might people that might enjoy and take in, I don't want to use this word, but pleasure. Because I feel like you could turn that into something dirty. But pleasure from reading that trilogy, and someone could, and I know there's a lot of series like Twilight, that people just downright hate, but there are people who still love it. Even the people that have realized its flaws, and that's putting it nicely, still have a soft spot for the series, and you can't entirely hate it. And even bought the book Midnight Sun and still read it, even though, from what I've heard from people, it makes Edward 10 times worse than he already was. But there might be people that actually enjoy that series. There are people that still enjoy it, or people who at least have a soft spot for it and forgive it for its flaws. I don't think you should act like it's the Bible and follow its relationship. I don't think that should be relationship goals, that story itself, but people just will enjoy what they like. And just because, and I think it's hard to be objective about a book. There can be books that are just, you question why it was published in the first place. But there's a lot of books that, I feel like it's shaky ground when you just try to determine if this author was just trying to make a point, or if it just genuinely, the author genuinely thinks this is okay. Like I said, I don't think anyone can be objective about a book. My bad book could be your best book. So it's just, I don't think, it's hard to determine what is considered a bad book, because everybody's definition of a bad book can be completely different. And I think you can't be objective. Okay, so question number 6. What book that you hated have you recommended? You could technically say I just recommended the Sleeping Beauty trilogy, but it was more like, but normally, no, I've never recommended a book I hated, but I've never hated a book. That's the only book that is even come close to hate. Because even Red Rain, I thought it was stupid and was like a Hallmark or a Lifetime movie, but with, supernatural stuff. Like a horror version of a Lifetime or Hallmark movie. Probably more Lifetime, because I think Hallmark is more wholesome and family friendly, and it doesn't have monsters and stuff in it. But so even that one I didn't hate. I didn't regret reading it. I just was like disappointed by it. But I've recommended books that I thought were just meh, or books that just weren't for me, but I didn't hate them. I mean, especially people like my friend Larissa, who it's easy for me to recommend books to her because I think she's very open to trying things, especially because she's just kind of started focusing more on reading. And then my cousin Mackenzie could be a potential easy to recommend too. I don't know. I mean, I still don't know exactly what she likes, but there's certain people in my life that I don't know what I would recommend to them. But yeah, I wouldn't do that. And if I hate it, I'm not going to recommend a book to you if I happen to hate a book. Because, I don't want to deep down, even though I said what I said earlier, which is that a bad book to me could be a great book to you. If I hated it, I almost not want to share it with the world and not let the world get their hands on it. But, that's not exactly fair on my part. And, so I just don't say anything. There's no point in saying anything if you hated a book. But like I said, I rarely hate books. And I rarely have talked about the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. I've only mentioned a video. I mention a video every so often, but, so the closest coming recommending that is just now in this video when I just mentioned it. And was like, if you're interested in this book, you might like it. So yeah, I don't recommend books that I hate. But like I said, I rarely hate books. Okay, so question number 7 and 8 are kind of go together in my opinion, just like 10 and 11 kind of go together. So question number 7, what makes a book good, bad, or great by your evaluation? And I think it depends on your thoughts after you've read the book. Your thoughts and feelings after you read the book. If my thoughts are positive and satisfied with what I read, then I think it's a good, it's good, great, or, if I'm like, and I guess if my thoughts are negative, then maybe it's hard because sometimes I think books that even give me negative feelings, it isn't because they're a bad book. They're just a book that I didn't enjoy my reading experience with it, but it might not necessarily be a bad book, especially if it deals with a serious issue. Because there are some books that it doesn't mean they're bad, it's just I didn't have a good time with it. So it's hard to determine what's a bad book for me. And then question number 8, when evaluating the quality of a book, do you have a specific criteria or agenda of writing an in-depth an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book? Such as character development. I can't read this. I mean, it's kind of small. I should make it a little bit bigger, but just character development that you consider. Okay, specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider. Does this change if you're writing an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book for enjoyment? I don't think it really changes. So to answer that part, no, I don't think. I mean, I might spend more time and elaborate a little bit more on an in-depth review, obviously, but I feel like it doesn't change. But I think about the plot. Was I engaged in the plot? Could I follow the plot? And then I do think about character development. And I think a little bit about writing. But mostly the plot. It's mostly the plot because I am a plot-driven reader. But I do like good characters, good compelling characters. And I do spend a lot of time writing. I can potentially spend a lot of time writing about characters more than I can about plot, which is surprising. But because I do feel like I'm a plot-driven reader. But yeah, that's what I consider mostly character and plot. Okay, and then Question number 9. Do you consider star ratings or average ratings when choosing a book to read? Add to your TBR. And sort of. I watch YouTube. Booktube is when I figure out is when I decide if I'm going to consider a book, when I'm watching Booktube. And then when I go to, places, mostly the roast office, then I will look if I'm trying to decide if I'm going to buy a book, because my bookshelf is basically my TBR. But, which is probably, everyone could say that, unless they have a separate TBR shelf. And I will read the reviews if I'm trying to decide if I'm going to buy a book from the roast office bookstore. A lot of times I focus mostly on the 3-star reviews, because I feel like they're kind of like middle ground, where it's not a bad review, but you don't absolutely love the book. You can attempt to be objective about it. Like I said, attempt. Kind of is, like I said, it's middle ground with a book. Now, sometimes occasionally I'll look at the 4 or 5 stars, more so the 2 and 1 stars, because sometimes those reviews can be very entertaining, especially when people use GIFs and memes, especially when it's a long rant review. So, I sort of do, but it's more about deciding if I'm going to add it to my library, my bookshelf. Which, yeah, like I said, that technically is my TBR, altogether throughout the years. So yeah, I do, because I think, and I don't just look at the star ratings. I actually will read the reviews, because like I said, they can be kind of fun sometimes, especially if you don't care or if you agree with them. Those 2 and 1 star ratings. Okay, so question number 10, 11, like I said, kind of go together, I feel like. So, who on Booktube do you rely on, and does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you can use to decide if a book for you, or if a book is for you or not? What makes the review so good? And then question number 11 is, does that or those booktubers use different language than you to evaluate and review the overall quality of the book? So first, I'll list the booktubers that I would trust their reviews. Okay, so I said, let me look. Okay. Olive from Book Olive, Jen from Insert Literary Pun, Daniel Green, Jay from Caption Words, Leaf by Leaf, and I think his name is Chris, Murphy Napier, and Jennifer Brooks. Some of them I have a lot of books in common, some of them I don't, but they have gotten me interested in their books, because all these people are very succinct, and I feel like they look at the good and bad. Like Murphy Napier has the pros and cons of her books, unless for some reason she has to do her review differently. And then Jay in Caption Words gets really creative with his reviews. I've just started kind of watching his reviews, watching his channel slowly more and more. And his reviews are always so entertaining. Both him and Daniel Green use green screen. Unfortunately, I can't really afford to use green screen or anything, have all that fancy equipment. But, their reviews are always entertaining. The way that people like Olive and Jen talk about Chris, like I said, I think his name is Chris from Leaf by Leaf. The way they talk about their books, they sound like very passionate professors, college professors, just talking about these things, giving this lecture about a book that they really care about. And it's fun and interesting. It gets me intrigued by what they're reading. And Olive from Book Olive has definitely got me more interested in nonfiction. A lot more. So I'm slowly accumulating more nonfiction and reading more. So I'm kind of getting into question 11 territory, where, yes, they do, I feel like they use different quote-unquote language than I do. like I said, they sound like, college professors just doing this impassioned lecture about what they're reading. And they really thought about it. And sometimes they're not exactly on the cuff, but I don't take the time to take notes or anything like that, which I feel like I want to change that, but I'm also very lazy. Sometimes I'll say that I'll do that kind of stuff, and then I don't follow through. I would like to try and remember to do that this time. Which I might be doing a review. I might be filming a video that's a review in a little bit and just do what I normally do. But they definitely sound more succinct and more professional sounding, and they really elaborate. And like I said, Jay and Daniel Green get really creative with their reviews and don't just list the good and the bad about a book. They really spend time and show stuff and images and just really spend some time really perfecting their reviews, in my opinion. And I would just like to, in fact, Jen from Insert Literary Pun has gotten me to give some books another shot at reading, and same with Jennifer Brooks. Like, I'd attempted another series by Anne Rice, The Witching Hour, The Mayfair Witches, and at the time, and she reminded me that I actually was enjoying Anne Rice's writing. Yeah, she writes a lot, gives a lot of detail, but I liked the in-depth, the detail and history that Anne Rice built, and I forgot how I kind of liked it. I enjoyed it. It was really long, and I was losing, and I was not feeling it at the time, and I wasn't sure if I liked the direction it was going. But now I'm giving it another shot, and I bought the first book again. And she's also got me to consider Moby Dick. I wasn't sure about it, and then I decided to give it another shot, and I read it, and I actually find it interesting and entertaining. Like, she gave a good point, just as long as you're prepared for I think it's raining. As long as you're prepared for the fact that it's going to talk a lot about whaling, you can still enjoy the book. I mean, unless it's just downright not for you, then that's fine. But and then I did re-get The Ministry of Utmost Happiness from the library, because I re-watched Jen from Insert Literary Pun's review of it, although sadly I still couldn't get into it, but she also got me to reconsider as well, and she even got me interested in Home Fires, I think it's called. So some of these booktubers have got me interested in books I normally wouldn't read because of their reviews of them and how passionate they are. Like Chris from Leaf by Leaf. Like I said, I don't know if that's his name I can't remember if that's his name or not. The channel's Leaf by Leaf. And just the way he got me interested in considering certain authors. Like, I bought the book The Recognitions because of his review of that book and how he talked about it. I have started it. I haven't finished it, but that's a big book. So, and it definitely requires commitment and focus. But still, their reviews are just so intriguing. These booktubers, and I definitely would recommend checking their reviews out. I mean, of course, consider do they write? Are they typing books that you're interested? Like Daniel Green and Jay from Capture No Words, are more the fantasy route. I think both Olive kind of talks a lot about nonfiction. She likes fiction too, and Jen is kind of more literary. Jennifer Brooks and Martha Napier kind of talk about a variety of stuff, a variety of different types of books. Murphy's kind of gotten more into fantasy these last couple of years, although she's right at the moment she's not doing anything new because she actually just is adopting a child, so she's kind of on commission right now. But yeah, but she's definitely gotten more into fantasy. So quite a few of these people are kind of lean towards fantasy, with Olive being a little bit more lean towards other things. She really likes learning about Russia too. So just first, decide if the books they talk about, although, like I said, you might consider, trying it out, because, like, I do think that the way they talk about certain books has gotten me more interested in things genres and that I normally wouldn't consider. Okay, so that is the Gunpowder Fiction and Plots ratings and reviews tag. Like I said, I want to do something different next year with my reviews and focus more on just reviewing instead of rating books. Because, again, now has gotten me thinking about that a lot more and thinking, I don't know if I want to do a number anymore, put a number or a star rating to my books. Like, yes, it's easy and sums up my feelings in that way. I don't really have to think about writing a review, but I want to get better at my review. I still want to continue to get better at my reviews and just focus more on that, because it might be easier than just trying to come up with a score or a star rating. Just think maybe it will be easier to not just think about that, because even though I think it is easy to give a score or a star rating, like a number rating, I would just, like I said, I would just rather write out a review. So, like I said, consider yourself tagged. If you're interested in doing this tag, I think it's really a thought-provoking tag. I will post the link to Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, their video of this tag, and maybe their other video that I'm going to watch at some point. But I got some stuff to do today, so I will talk to you all later. I hope you're enjoying your reading, and I hope you'll like this video. If you please give it a thumbs up. You can click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post new videos. And I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!